What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Batwoman, Season 1, Episode 10. How queer everything is today. Because you get it? It's like queer as in weird because Alice and queer, but then also queer as in gay because Kate's gay and she just revealed that Batwoman's gay too. Oh my god. I can't stand it. I thought it would get a little bit better. The first episode back from the crisis, they're like, you get that thought out of your head right now, mister. We are not getting better. We are getting worse. You know how Kate being gay was just kind of, it was something about her, but we didn't really focus on a whole lot except for that one episode? Well, we're going to have another episode to really hone in on that. Why? It's who you like. It's who you're attracted to. Does it make you any different than anybody else? No. Anybody who treats you differently because of that is probably dumb. And are there parents out there who still act like, oh, you're not my child anymore? Probably. But guess what? This is not going to change their minds. And this is not going to help the kids that are dealing with this suddenly go, there's a superhero out there like me? My life is changed. No! This is not making anything better. All it's doing is just making Kate look like an idiot. Because as Luke very clearly pointed out, the less ties to her, the better. So Batwoman being straight and you being gay means people are not going to suspect that you might be the same person. Sophie already thought that you were Batwoman. This is going to give her another clue to be like, wait, maybe she is. Sure, oh, you were in the same room as Batwoman at the same time, coincidentally out of nowhere. Oh my god. This show is giving me indigestion because it's so freaking bad. But the thing is, as soon as this episode started with that one cop that everybody was like, oh, we're going to ship them together, guys? We're going to ship them together? As soon as it started with that, all I could think was, let me guess, by the end of this episode, she's going to come out, Batwoman's going to come out as gay. Just to make sure everybody feels supported, because it's not, Kate's like, that's not me. It's not supposed to be you! Batwoman is supposed to be Batwoman, and Kate is supposed to be Kate. Kate and Batwoman should not be synonymous. That's something that they talked about with Bruce Wayne for years. That's one of the interesting things. Who's more real, Bruce Wayne or Batman? They're two different people. Who Bruce Wayne is not who Batman is. That's the point. You're not... God! And they're just... It's like they don't have any sense. Like, you know what? We believe that in this world, a superhero would rather stand up and come out as gay, even if it risks exposing her identity and putting everybody she loves in mortal danger. Yep. Because that's how important it is. She would sacrifice everybody that she loves just so people would know that she's gay. You're an idiot! God! And again, I mean, obviously I'm not gay, so I can't speak for all of the gay people in the world, whether or not this representation makes them feel empowered. But I'm trying to think from their point of view, and if I watched this show, I would be like, no, that's stupid. You don't give clues to your identity just to make a statement. You don't risk people's lives just to make a statement. You are still you. You are very openly out and proud. Apparently she's like one of the top, 12 CEO lesbians or something like that? Like, very clearly she's already somebody that the people in the gay community look up to. She's opening a gay bar as Kane. So already she's given people something to look up to. You don't need to give them another thing to look up to that could possibly put your identity at risk and put people you love at risk. Like, if that's the whole reason for doing this, you're already doing that. So it's stupid. God. And just just the forced dialogue on it, the forced feeling of it, it just all feels so stupid. In the same episode where she's like, God, but I'm not straight. I'm not straight, but they're saying Batwoman is, and I'm not. And I'm Batwoman, so no. Like, she's pouting about it. Of course she's gonna run into a girl who just happened to hack this train for no other reason other than she wants to get out of town because her parents don't want to own her anymore because she's gay and she got outed to her parents, and they're those, stuck-up Christians that are all like, you're gay, I don't know you anymore. I know I gave birth to you, but I don't know you anymore. I'm just like, of course it just so happened to work out that way. So yeah, this episode was a slog, especially after I made the decision. I was like, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to work through this season. I'm going to hope it gets a little bit better by the end of it. This episode just really made me want to go, you know what? No. I really just want to turn this show off and just be like, I'm done. My only hope is that they spent a ton of time on it here because they didn't have any time to talk about it in the crossover. And they're like, oh my god, guys, we spent like the whole crossover not talking about how Kate is gay. How could we? How could we do that? We didn't talk about how anybody was gay in that crisis event. How could we do that? There was like no talking about people being gay. It's almost like saving the world was more important than talking about people's sexual identities. How awful are we? Let's have a whole episode talking about how Kate's gay, guys. Let's just do a whole episode on it. Come on, we gotta talk about it, because we spent too long not talking about it. We need more representation, guys. I know we already have a ton of representation in the world, but we need more representation. Let's just throw another one in there. You know what, Luke, you seem like you might not be gay. We're gonna make you gay. Mary, you don't seem gay. We're gonna make you gay. Kate's dad, he's gonna find a guy, and he's gonna be gay too. We're just gonna make everybody gay, because we need more representation. And again, if you want to hate me because I'm going hard on this, you perfectly can. That's your choice. I don't care. Honestly, you make whatever choices you want. Just as long as you're not hurting other people, that's perfectly fine. This is just dumb. It's poorly written. It's not, obviously it's not for me because I can't relate to it. But even, I feel like even for people who can relate to it, this is so poorly written and forced and in your face and just takes a complete break from anything to do with superheroing and anything to do with what's going on. It's just like, we need to talk about this, guys. And like, no references to the crisis except for one, like that Vesper woman's like, oh, we need some happiness after Oliver Queen died. That's the only reference we get to the crisis. Nothing else is talked about. I think Kate at one point said multiverse. She's like, yeah, I'm a paragon of courage or something like that. And she used that as a reason as to why Batwoman needed to come out too, even though it's a different freaking person. So, with all that being said, this Beth shows up. I'm curious about that. It's something to hold on to because maybe this could be interesting. Is this part of this new world that was created whenever Oliver reset the universe? If so, why is Alice still here? And also, if so, then why doesn't anybody else... Like, that's the thing. If they're going to say, like, oh, this new universe, Beth didn't actually die, and so Alice was never created. Like, I don't think that's where they're going with it. I don't know if this is supposed to be something like Clayface or somebody that can do impersonations that's not Mouse, because she already tried to rip her face off. I don't know. It's interesting. It's the one interesting thing about this episode. Everything else was crap. Oh, and also, by the way, Sophie, no husband anymore. Kate, you're in. You're in. Go get her. She's free now. And then, I'll admit, Mary, I'm glad that they made up at the end of this episode, because she's kind of being a bitch to Kate and all of this. And, I mean, don't get me wrong, I understand, like, why she's frustrated with her. But at the same time, she's not the one that killed your mom. And yes, your mom was still a terrible person, so you can stop lying to yourself about that. But just blaming Kate for Alice killing her mom doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So I'm glad that by the end of it, she was like, okay, fine. And just, they hugged and made up. So that was perfectly fine. But yeah. I'm sorry. If you're offended, I'm kind of sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry that you're offended. It's not my intent to offend anyone. I have to review this awful show. And when this awful show cares more about delivering propaganda and representation rather than telling a good story, it's a crap show. Like, yes, representation, I'm not saying it's not important. I'm not saying people don't need to be represented, but at least do it in a way where it's well written, it's well done. Stop treating people that are gay as if they're different somehow, because they're not. And honestly, that's part of the problem. You treat people like this so differently, like, oh, they're different than everybody else, but that's okay because they're No, they're human too. You're trying to tell me that a superhero that's straight can't represent them just because, oh, well, they like somebody of the same sex. So, does that not make them human anymore? Like, that's what I don't understand, is whenever people try to make it seem like, oh, we got to represent them because they're different. Is that not part of the problem? Alright, my rant's done. Let's move on to the next one. Here we go. And now, episode 11, an unbirthday present. So, kind of interesting, everything to do with Beth. Apparently, this is the Beth that we actually saw from Kevin Conroy's Batman's universe. At least it seems like, because she had the same picture on her phone that we saw. I think that Bruce Wayne had a picture of that as well. So, kind of interesting that this seems to be one of the things, because we obviously saw there were some other things that did bleed over from other universes when everything sort of restarted, like Superman having 2 sons now instead of 1. And I'm assuming there's going to be some other possible changes in the other CW shows whenever we get back, so I'll be curious to see what else changes. But yeah, as far as this episode goes, I mean, it's still not interesting. The whole storyline where the GCPD is like, Batwoman is gay, we shall not call her tonight. I'd rather let people die than call upon a gay woman. Just, what's really, first of all, 2 things. One, this is the second time that they're like, oh, she's gay, keep politics out of this, okay? This isn't about politics. Since when does your sexual identity have anything to do with politics? I'm sorry. Do they decide at the government, alright, so today we need to figure out who's going to be gay and who's not, alright? So we'll decide all of this and make sure, we don't want this involved in anything else. But here in the government, we're the ones that decide this stuff. So clearly, being gay or not, I mean, it's all politics, obviously, of course. These lines are just stupid. They're basically lines that are just like, oh, well, we've seen some people talk about that. Like, they're just like, oh, can we keep politics out of this, please? When they're talking about gay people being involved. So clearly, some people think that politics and being gay are related, even though they're not. So we're going to make them seem stupid by being like, oh, see, they think this is how it is, and that's not how it is. I swear my migraine just keeps growing and growing every single time they bring up the stupid plot point, because it doesn't make any sense. It just continues to freaking... So anyways, that took up way too much of the episode. But the other ironic thing, too, is... Literally, I don't remember. One of them was, I think the white kid was the GCPD's commissioner's son, and then the black kid was the mayor's son. And I mean, almost as if it just, one of the writers snapped for a day and just wrote this in to make fun of all the other writers that were writing the rest of this plot. Just like, dude, it's 2020. Nobody cares about this gay versus straight thing. I'm just like, thank you. It's 2020. We're past this. We're well past this. This has not been a thing. Is it still a thing in individual homes? Sure. Are there people out there still dealing with it? Yes. Is this a universal thing that we need to talk about? No. Because the people that still think this way, guess what? They're not watching Batwoman. And if they did, they probably would just... I don't know, they'd probably rip into it. They'd probably leave a bunch of terrible reviews. Which is ironic, because that's what I'm doing, so I'm sure people are going to make that comparison. But, I mean, seriously, they're not watching this show because they heard that Batwoman's a lesbian. They probably didn't even turn it on because they're that close-minded. So what do you think making this show is going to do? Suddenly just, oh, we're just going to seep into their minds even though they don't watch it, and then all of a sudden they'll just be changed, and they'll be better people, and stop judging people based on who they like. Oh my god. So, now that we're past that. The other stuff in this, Sophie interrogating Alice, her telling the story, we're just seeing a little bit more about how Alice went down this rabbit hole. And it's just not that interesting, Don't get me wrong, I could see why she's crazy. I could see what she had to put up with. This guy obviously groomed her into being a psychopath, and then she pretty much dove deeper into herself and closed off that part of herself and created this fantasy world where she could be Alice and everything's all hunky-dory and we're all good and all of that stuff. So I can see why it happened. I just don't care because I don't care about Alice as a character. She's still acting. It's still very apparent to me that she's acting. And it's even more apparent whenever I see her as Beth now, because honestly, there's not a whole lot of difference between Beth and Alice other than Alice seems like Beth acting like she's crazy. Like, there's really so little difference between the two of them. Like, honestly, it would be like if all of a sudden I started talking like this during my reviews and just really started doing this all the time. And yes, this is me. I'm crazy now, guys. Can't you tell? Just by my slight change in pitch and the way that I'm moving around all suddenly, and then suddenly getting angry, and then suddenly I'm happy again because it's so crazy. Like, that's really what it is. There's Beth and Alice should feel like two different characters if that's what they were going for. If Alice really is Beth completely just off the rails, she's lost herself, she doesn't even identify as Beth anymore because she's just that gone. They should feel like two completely different characters, but instead, it feels like this is Beth, and then this is Beth hyped up on caffeine and crazy. And it's just not interesting. I'm not intimidated. I don't feel like I'm actually watching somebody who has really been tortured. Honestly, good comparison, Jared Leto's Joker. Another guy that wanted everybody to think he was crazy. Like, just his whole performance, I didn't see a crazy man. I saw a man who wanted everybody to think he was crazy. I see the same thing with Alice. And it's just so obvious. You look at Jervis Tetch from Gotham, the guy that played him. I believed he was mad. I believed that he really thought he was the Mad Hatter. And that, his sister Alice was the Alice from Alice in Wonderland. He played it so well. Honestly, all of the people that are crazy on Gotham played their parts to perfection aside from Jada Pinkett Smith, because I felt like she was playing a part. I just look at Alice and I think, she's not crazy to me. So, I'm hyped on that a whole lot. So, I'll leave it here for now, unless something else comes up that I want to talk about. But just seeing her as Beth really hammered it home for me that I'm just like, I just see them as basically the same thing, just one's a little bit, I'm so crazy, aren't I? Like, wanting to come off as that. So, what was the line? Oh, right. There was one line from Beth that showed me that the writers of the show really, 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 really need to go back to school. Because Beth shows up and Luke's like, oh, Alice has been kidnapped. Kidnapped? You mean like taken? Okay. Writers of Batwoman. If you still have a job after that line, what else could kidnapped mean? If he had said she was taken, and then she said, you mean like kidnapped, still would have been dumb, because there aren't really many other things that could have been by taken, like, oh, she was taken out on a date, or she was taken out, like killed, or she was, I don't know. Those are really the only two things that taken could mean. But kidnapped only means one thing. To be kidnapped, to be taken. That's it. So her clarifying the word kidnapped, these writers get paid to do this, ladies and gentlemen. They get paid to write lines like, kidnapped? You mean taken? Because they think we're that dumb that we don't know what kidnapped mean. I mean, that's a 2-syllable word, kidnap. Well, is that 3? Would you count the... That's a bit of a tough one, actually. Kidnapped. Yeah, I guess that's 3 syllables. Now I'm thinking about it. It's funny, I'm just like, oh, it's 2 syllables. I'm smart. Smarter than the writers of the show, though, clearly. Just they, for some reason, felt the need to clarify that taken. She's taken, guys. Oh, yep. So that was a really dumb line. But yeah, I mean, just... Al's getting away. I mean, of course she's going to get away because we can't just have her go to Arkham and then have her be there for the rest of the season. No, we have to have her get away because she can't be caught yet because this whole season is going to be about her. And it just, for me, I don't care about that. You know, I don't care about Alice, and yet I'm having to sit through a whole season where she's the villain. Every single episode, she's somehow one step ahead. I didn't even bring up the fact, one, Mouse knew where Kate was going to be riding her motorcycle and somehow pin perfect nailed her off her motorcycle with the truck. How did he know where she was going to be? How did he know how to time that? Did they like track her bike or something? Probably not. They just wanted Kate to get kidnapped somehow, and this is the only way they could think of. Is like, oh, yeah, have you seen that thing where like the hero's driving and then suddenly like a truck comes out of the nowhere and just rams into him from the side? We're going to do that. Don't think about how it could have possibly happened. Don't think about how they could have found out where she is and how they could have timed it to perfection. It's just going to happen because, oh, she's kidnapped now, guys. Or, for you simpletons, taken. So, it's just still very dumb. Thankfully, the whole, ooh, she's gay storyline, it's still prevalent. But I'm glad it's not, like, as prevalent as it was in the first episode because, again... I don't care if Kate's gay or not. Just stop making it the focal point of your show because there's more important things to talk about. And then finally, the interesting thing that I do wonder about is Beth and Alice both dealing with this strange headache that they're going through. Is this like the universe trying to set itself right since there's now... technically 2 Beths from different universes that remember 2 different universes? Is that what's going on here? Which, I mean, to be fair, it's something that we haven't really encountered yet, because it seems like everybody has this different memory of what this universe is now, and apparently in this universe it still is. Beth fell down the river with her mom. She, got out of the car, but then was taken in by this family and then kept there and held there forever. So the Beth from this new universe that was created after Oliver sacrificed himself is Alice. So this other Beth that came in from a different universe that doesn't exist anymore, it is kind of like, how did that necessarily happen since technically her universe was destroyed before this whole universe started anew? So there's gonna be some weird stuff to do with that. I don't know if we're going to get an explanation for exactly how it happened, or if this is their explanation, what we heard from Mary at the end, where it's like, oh, you know how, like, IKEA, sometimes you get, like, an extra part? What if she's an extra part that just happened to show up? Okay. I mean, I guess, but that doesn't really make sense if you truly think about how this new universe was built. It started from somewhere. It started from the beginning. And so now this new universe should not have anything from the past universe. Like, there's still obviously a lot of similarities to what Earth 1 was before, but that doesn't mean that there should be other Earths that are now coming into... Like, that doesn't make any sense. So, I hope they have a good explanation, but they probably won't. But anyways, on to the next one. See you there. And now, episode 12, Take Your Choice. The show where everybody's an idiot. Because let's talk about how this should have gone. So, they find out Beth and Alice can't exist on the same Earth, right? So obviously, the obvious choice is Beth needs to live because Alice is a psychopath. She's created this awful psychopathic world, and she's crazy, and she's trying to kill everybody, and she wants to take revenge on Kate for something she had no business with, and her dad who had no business with it either. So obviously, she needs to be the one to go. Right? Right. Okay, so we're all in agreement on that. However, instead of Kate goes and talks to Sophie and says, "Hey, do you remember when I came in here the other day and I was confused because I thought Alice had come to visit me, but you had Alice? Turns out this is Beth from another universe. No, it sounds crazy, but crazier things have happened. Okay? We have Supergirl on this earth now. We have The Flash. We have all of these crazy alien things going on. The possibility of a multiverse, not crazy, right? So I'm going to bring Beth to you and keep her in here while we go hunt down Alice and take her out so that way Beth can live. Simple. That's all you fucking had to do. But what do? Oh, we gotta get her out of here. We gotta get her somewhere safe. I know, let's go to one of the checkpoints and we'll hide her under the cloth. So now Sophie's tracking down Alice, but also Beth fits that because she looks like Alice. And she's like shoot to kill, so they're ready to shoot to kill. And of course they think they've found Alice, even though it's obviously Beth because she doesn't have the white hair. But of course they don't know that, so they're just like, oh, it could be Alice, which then of course leads Mouse's dad right to him. And so of course, instead of her being hidden somewhere safe because Kate did the smart thing and talked to Sophie about what was going on and let her know everything that's going on, instead they had to try to sneak her out, which then of course led everybody to them and then got Beth killed. And now Alice is going to be alive with this new renewed vengeance because Kate was about to let her die. So this entire second half of the season where Alice is going to be going crazy and she's going to be even worse than she was the first half of the season, to the point where she probably is going to kill or try to kill Kate and her dad and Sophie and all the people that matter to Kate. She's going to do all of this now because Kate's an idiot. All the people in this show are idiots. I mean, I don't get it. I don't understand. Even when Alice came to visit, and they just all stood around looking at her like, she's here? How did she get in here? Oh no, what are we gonna do? Somebody grab a freaking gun and shoot her in the head. And then drag her lifeless body to Sophie and be like, look, this may sound weird. Here's Alice. This is Beth from another universe. All's good. We killed Alice. She's dead. I know this might look like her, but I promise it's Beth. She'll tell you all about this alternate universe. She's even got a picture in her phone of us from this other universe. Sounds crazy at first, but that's what happened. And if the whole like, oh well, only Batwoman would know about the multiple universes, then say Batwoman freaking visited you and told you all of this stuff. Like, hey, I found this Beth. She claimed to be Beth Kane. I brought her to you just so you know there's multiple universes going on, and this is actually Beth from another universe. So here's your sister back. There's so many ways around this. But they had to be stupid only because if they weren't stupid, the show would not continue. We could have been following Mouse's dad for the rest of the season. He could have been the main villain and Alice could have been out of the picture. But no. The show thinks Alice is such a good villain that they're like, we're going to find some convoluted way why Kate cannot easily resolve this issue, even though it's very easily resolvable, just so Alice can stick around as our main villain. Because isn't she such a good main villain, guys? Isn't she so intimidating with her pretending to be crazy but not at all actually crazy persona? Isn't she great? Don't you love her? I mean, it was so obvious where it was going too, right? I mean, to be fair, the rest of the episode titles are all Alice in Wonderland references, so I knew Alice was going to survive anyway. But even without that, even if I didn't know that the rest of the episodes were titled Alice in Wonderland references, I still would have known exactly where it was going. Because the writers of the show think that all of its characters are dumb, except for the bad guys. So it's like anytime the good guys try to stop the bad guys, it's never going to work because the bad guys are just that much smarter. But it's honestly, it's not even like the bad guys are that smart. The good guys are just stupid. They're just dumb. And I, I don't know. Why am I supposed to root for good guys that can't even do the freaking jobs? That can't even think logically for 1 second? Every logical idea goes out the window. We're never going to use it because it makes too much sense. If we did that, we would stop Alice like that. We can't have that. We got to stretch it out. We got to stretch it out over this whole season. This whole season's got to be about stopping Alice. We can't have her stopped halfway through. No, 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 no. That would be too easy. So Kate's got to be kind of dumb. Luke, even though he's super smart, has got to be kind of dumb. Sophie got to be kind of dumb. We can't have all of our main characters being smart, because then things would be easily solved. Too easy. Can't have that. We got to have this false tension. What's it called? It's like fabricated tension. There you go. Fabricated tension. We need to have all of this. We're writing this tension into the script, guys. Yeah. Ooh, do you feel tense yet? Alice is gonna live now, and Beth is gonna die. So now Alice is gonna hate Kate for letting her die. Ooh. On top of that, Kate's dad, also an idiot. Dodgson shows up, and sure, he's not gonna stab you. He's working for Alice. He loves Alice. Alice hates you. He's not gonna stab you. I'm sure him just walking up in an empty bathroom behind you out of nowhere, sure, it'll be fine. So sure, turn around slowly and go, Dodgson? And just stare at him for like a good 5 seconds while he is clearly holding a shiv in his hand. Good job, Mr. Kane. Good job. You're real smart, dude. You'll brain really well. Yeah, you do the smart think. Mm-hmm. You deserve to be lying bleeding on the floor. It's just, again, dumb. Logical thinking. Hey, here's the guy that loves Alice who wants me dead, and he's in the bathroom. He's got a shiv in his hand if I just pay attention. But even if I didn't see the shiv, him approaching me in the bathroom, probably not going to end well for me. I should probably be ready to defend myself. But no, because he's got to get stabbed because, I don't know. Who knows? Again, fabricate tension, guys. Fabricate that tension. Ooh, you're making me feel so tense. Is he going to die? What else? Mary could have just killed Beth. Or not Beth, Alice. Like, she really could have just killed her. Oh, but do no harm. Alice killed her mom. You're really telling me that Mary wouldn't just be like, oh wait, if I kill you, Beth lives? Scalpel? I mean, really? Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Mary's a killer, but in this instance, morals be damned. You're killing somebody that doesn't even need to live because technically she's alive as this other good person. And yet, nope. Mary's just like, oh, I can use my blood and give it to Kate to give to Beth, and that's how Beth will live. Instead of me just killing Alice here, then Beth will be fine. Oh, God. So that's also dumb. That's about all the stupidity. The two other things that, I mean, were interesting and good, but, I mean, they're so drowned out by all the bad that I don't even really want to talk about them, but I will, because I want to be fair. I want to review everything. First of all, the scenes between Alice and Beth, probably the best CW scene of two people that are obviously the same actor or actress. Two of the same people in the same room. Probably the best I've seen on the CW. I mean, even the scenes with Brandon Routh when he was Ray and Superman in the Crisis, they always had to shoot it where it's that very obvious, like they're on two different sides of the room, so they like shot one side and shot the other, and you know it's always so obvious. This one they actually had some very intricate shots where they're both in the shot, but it's not like side by side. There's parts where Alice will like walk behind Beth and around her and stuff, and it was very well done. Like I will say, not very often I see this level of quality when it comes to shooting the same actress in two different parts at the CW DC level. So I gotta say good job for that. And then also Mouse's dad still being around. I'll admit I was kind of interested in that. Whenever he first showed up, there was a part of me that's like, is that Mouse's dad? But it doesn't really look like him. But he seems to be taking a very big interest in this, so I just wonder, could he still be alive? And then when he takes off the face, I'm like, oh, well, that's interesting. And it also, I mean, it kind of makes sense because he was sitting there saying, oh, it's all sci-fi. You know, this whole wearing a face thing, that's all sci-fi stuff. Which is funny because, you know, Kate, take notes. He pretends like like wearing a mask, that's all sci-fi, because the real him actually does that. So that way he hides his identity better, you know? So it made where nobody would suspect him because why would they? He doesn't think that wearing a mask. So why would he think, why would he be related to Mouse who does wear masks, right? Right? I mean, it makes sense. It's almost like maybe you should do the same thing. But no, no, no. You got to be progressive. You got to out yourself and your secret identity so that way people have a thing to connect you to. But I mean, the conversations between him and Mouse are kind of interesting, and I'm curious to see where his story's gonna go. Even though he's the one that kills Beth because of a whole misunderstanding, which is dumb, the fact that he's in the picture now is kind of interesting, and it is something to look forward to for me. So, yeah, those two things, only good things in this episode. Everything else, just really, really stupid. So, yeah. 3 episodes after the crisis, and it's still just the same shit. I have nothing else to say. I've ranted my rants. I'm tired. Ready to go to bed. So that's what I'm going to do. So that's it for me. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on these 3 episodes? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe. Maybe for future Batwoman reviews. I really am considering just dropping this show now. Really thinking about it. But we'll see. We'll see. I may just slog through this first season and be done with it. But until next time, peace out.